welcome to the back porch. I want to talk about straw bale gardening today. Really haven't talked much about that for quite a while now, and that's starting out. That was the main topic of my channel. Actually, was straw bale gardening, and so I hope if you've taken it up this year for the first time, I hope it's doing well and you're being successful at it. I've been doing it for 8 years now, and I've had really good success growing a fairly wide variety of vegetables and flowers. 8 years ago, or 8.5 years ago, just one day I was just kind of surfing through the internet and looking, I don't even remember what I was looking for, but I came across the idea about straw bale gardening, and a fella named Joel Karsten, and this is I think it was probably his original book, which I ordered right away. It just struck me as something like, something different, something like it looked really cool, like anybody can do it. You can do it pretty much in any place. So I ordered the book, and in the 8 years that I've been doing it, I've had anywhere from when I was living out on our farmstead with my mom after my dad passed away. There was one year I had 45 straw bales. I mean, I had stuff growing everywhere. Mom thought I was going to run the well dry, trying to keep it all watered, because I think that particular year we didn't have a whole lot of rainfall, and you have to water it a lot if if you've been doing it. So anyway, I've had anywhere from 45 bales to, like, I think what I have now this year is again 12, like I had last year, and that's a good amount. But I wanted to talk about some of the things I've grown and had really good success with. It really smells good out here. I got this basil growing over here. Basil smells great. My number one crop every year has always been and continues to be pole beans. I grow Kentucky Blue Wonder, and these son of a guns, I mean, just when you think they're about done, you get a little rain, a little water on them. I mean, I'm gonna have to come out and pick a whole bunch more. You can see how they're growing on here. They're everywhere, and they are delicious. So that'd be my number one crop overall. Tomatoes and peppers, probably number two. Once again this year, I've had to prop up some cherry tomatoes. And you might notice too, it is mid-August, and I'm just now getting tomatoes because of that cool, kind of cloudy, wet spring we had. And I start everything from seed. And so I was a little later than others getting them started, but you can see on my full-size tomatoes here, they're coming on. I got green tomatoes there. I can get you down in here. You can see these big boys here. These are super beefsteak, and they're doing very well also. So green beans and tomatoes. Cucumbers is something else I've had really good success with. Kind of up and down though. This year, just this little space right here, 1 bale worth. They didn't really trellis up on the fence too good, but man, they have grown in a spot on either side of the fence, and we had so many I had to learn how to make pickles. You might have seen in the previous video. The wife, Mrs. Farmer, and I took up canning, and we've made dill pickles and bread and butter pickles, and we're going to make some more because I hate seeing any of this go to waste. I've given away, I don't know, several jars of pickles. So, green beans, pole beans, tomatoes, peppers, cucumbers. Something else that we really enjoy are zucchini and squash. And I've grown those, successfully in bales. And they're just, I get a little aggravated though, because I showed you in a previous video just earlier today, a nice squash plant I've got grown in a container. And a bale of straw is just a container also. But I've not grown squash or zucchini in bales now for a couple of years, simply because you can only get I have a bad habit of crowding, probably more than I should, and I understand from watching other people's YouTube channels, I think it's James Prigioni coming to you from Jersey in the food forest. He has something, or does something called intense gardening. I believe he's one that practices this procedure where you're growing a lot of stuff in a space, crowding it together, and he says you have less weeds and so forth, which is probably true. So I guess I've been guilty of intense gardening before it was a thing. Anyway, so I've had a lot of trouble with the zucchini plants and the squash plants. Actually, they'll get so big and they'll actually fall off the bale, and it just kind of gets to be kind of cumbersome and messy that way. I like to keep it kind of looking a little more neat than that, so I wouldn't really call myself an intense gardener. Mrs. Farmer will tell you that I'm fairly intense overall. I'm sure she'll get a chuckle out of it when she sees this. So anyway, so zucchini and squash, not so much. I mean, I enjoy growing those. We enjoy eating them, but it's not one of my favorite things to grow in straw bales. So pole beans, tomatoes, peppers do real well. The cucumber. Most of the thing is, you can grow, according to Mr. Carson's book, you can grow just about anything with the exception of a few things, like obviously asparagus, which takes several years to get it to mature, on a perennial basis. Sweet corn is pretty much a no-no. I've never tried it, but he advises against it. I tried potatoes last year for the first time. Didn't have very good success with that either. For whatever reason, I've seen other examples, other channels, people grow them, and they just pull the bale apart when at the end of the season when the potato plants the potatoes are ready to harvest. You just pull the bale apart and just pick them out. But not for me. Didn't work out. Something else that is really easy to grow. You can see this. That's starting to bolt. I need to cut that out and plant some more. Is lettuce and salad greens. We eat a lot of that. Pak choy, cabbage, stuff like that. Of course, I always have a good supply of basil, usually more than one variety, not just one this year. Those all have. So something else I've done straw bale garden wise a little different in the last couple of years. If you read Mr. Carson's book, and I mentioned this in an earlier video also, when you're starting out and you're fertilizing, you're prepping your bales, wetting them down and fertilizing them, and it's suggested you use a basic 10-10-10 fertilizer, which works fine. But after like 6 years of that, I discovered that my bales weren't breaking down and starting to compost, as fast as I would like them to. And so yet last year and this year, I used a little heavier duty fertilizer, and you can see from looking at these bales, these bales, when I set them out here, and I think that was like late April, 1st of May, so these were brand new, right out, golden colored straw bales, and you can see that they have rapidly broken down in the last couple of months, which is what you want, because it's a whole world of microorganisms going on in there, and great root systems these plants build up because of these bales. And these are broken down so much, you can actually just start to pull them apart. It makes great compost when the planting season's over, or the gardening season. That's all going to make great compost for my raised beds. And so I just wanted to share that with you. I want to go on and talk a little bit about tomatoes, planting and growing tomatoes. Last year and this year both, I decided did some experimenting with not just planting and growing tomatoes in straw bales, but also this year I've tried them in grow bags, cloth grow bags, and containers with just dirt and fertilizer, and I tried them in a couple of the self-wicking tubs that I learned to put together from watching Arms Family Homestead and Gardening with Leon. I think it's actually Leon's idea, and it works out pretty well for some things. So I want to take you around and show you this now. I'll show you these tomatoes. And so the first comparison I wanted to show you, now here's a cherry tomato plant that I planted in a cloth grow bag, and you can see the problem I'm having with algae sitting out here in the sun for 8-10 hours a day. And this is just dirt with some commercial fertilizer. I pruned this plant pretty heavily, as was suggested on some other channels I watch, and as you can see, it has pretty good crop of cherry tomatoes. So that's what they look like grown in a cloth bag. Now if you look at these ones over here that I've got growing in the straw bales though, now these plants, or this said there's actually, this is a cherry tomato on the end, and it's butted up against a full size one. You can't really you can't see where one begins and the other one ends. But you can see the difference though in the actual tomatoes from this plant and the one I just showed you. These here are big, juicy cherry tomatoes. Nothing against the ones over here, but you can see the difference in sizes here. Quite a bit of difference actually. Same variety of cherry tomato. The thing with these are, grown in a straw bale, you can see how the dirt's kind of starting to wear away there from water and so forth. And I can assure you that this plant has gone clear through the bale. It's actually grown into the ground, because tomatoes, their root system, they'll stretch and grow just as far as they can, always looking for more nutrients and water. Which brings me to the next container here, which is a self-wicking tub. And I've said before, I think I've got something wrong with how this is set up underneath. It has the water reservoir. I think this PVC pipe probably got twisted, because anytime I start to put water in her, it comes right out the weep hole down here almost immediately, and it shouldn't. So this plant is going to have exactly 6 super beefsteak tomatoes is what these are. So the yield will be 6 exactly, no more, no less. And you can see as the leaves and so forth have begun to wither and die. I've been clipping them off. There's not much left of it actually. It has a nice strong stem here, but overall it didn't get very big. And I really believe that a lot of the problem is because with this tub has 7 milk jugs in it in the bottom with the dirt on top, and that's where this water is supposed to go to through this tube. Well, that really limits the area that the tomato plant's root system can grow. I mean, it can't go down very far at all, and I think that's really what's hampered the growth of the plant overall. Because here's another one. This container here has no, it's not a self-wicking container, it's just a container with dirt and some compost, and you can see the difference. It's fuller, taller, greener. This one has had no commercial fertilizer, and this one has. And you can see it's about time to pick some tomatoes. That's a beauty right there. I already got a spot for that on a hamburger bun later this week. Now, in comparison to the self-wicking tubs, I've got a couple grown in self-wicking buckets. Now these were planted later. This is actually a Roma variety. Now in this bucket has just one small empty coffee container that acts as the water reservoir, and you put the water and fertilizer down the pipe. And it's been in this bucket for probably a little over a month. Like I said, I planted some of these really late, just to use as an experiment. And so overall, I would say that comparing the tubs grow bag to the bales win out easily. Now if we go out and back here real quick, to where the my raised beds are. And this is my first year actually planting anything in raised beds. And again, following some examples I saw on some other people's channels, I simply staked, same variety, these are also super beefsteak, we eat a lot of those. I just staked them to these T-posts, did a little pruning from the bottom up, and these, like I said, these haven't been on here very long either, but you can see the difference in the rapid growth and just the overall healthiness of these plants here on these posts. And so I just want to take a little time and just talk about straw bale gardening, because it suddenly occurred to me yesterday or the day before that I haven't really been talking about it at all since planting time. So I hope that if you are straw bale gardening, I hope you've had some success. I'd love to hear how yours are working out, and if they're not, you know, what happened, what failures or wins or losses, either one. Anyway, if you like this video, smash that thumbs up, like button, ring the notification bell, and as always, be happy to have you as a subscriber, because I'm going to keep making them. I'm going to make these videos. So have a great day. God bless you all, and take care. I'll see you on the next one. Thanks for watching.